In a small mountain town in New England, there's a chapel that's been permanently closed for over 60 years. No congregation, no priest, no services of any kind. And yet, every single resident of that town will tell you, without hesitation, never to go near it after dark, because 20 years ago, a young bride walked through its doors seeking a miracle and walked back out alone. Her husband was never seen again. Her daughter grew up in that same town, beautiful, quiet, and utterly untouched by time in a way neighbors noticed but never discussed openly. And when a local boy fell in love with her against every warning his own family gave him, it set in motion a night that ended with his own grandmother pulling a trigger to save him, and the entire world along with him. Stay until the end, because what's sealed inside that chapel isn't a ghost. It's something far older and far hungrier than that. Charles and Clara had just moved into a beautiful new home overlooking the small town of Hollows Bend, nestled among green mountain hillsides. Standing together on their balcony that first evening, Clara's eyes landed on a small stone chapel visible through the trees on a neighboring hill. "Charles, look how lovely that little chapel looks against the hillside. Let's go see it. It's our first day in this town, and there's no better way to get to know a new place than through its church." "Not a bad idea at all," Charles said. "We're going to be living here for good now. Might as well start getting to know our neighbors." A short while later, the two of them stood outside the chapel's gate, glancing around, when a woman's voice cut sharply through the quiet behind them. "Who are you two? You don't look like you're from around here." Charles turned to find an older woman staring intently at them both. "My name is Charles, and this is my friend Clara. You're right, we're new to town." "My name is Martha," the woman said. "If you value your lives at all, stay away from this chapel. It's been closed for decades." With that, Martha walked briskly away without another word. "Pause. Let this land before continuing." Charles turned to Clara, puzzled. "Strange thing to say. This place doesn't exactly look abandoned to me. And if it's really closed, why is the door standing open like that?" He'd barely finished the sentence when a young woman's voice reached them. "Are you two just going to stand outside all day? Or are you actually coming in to pray?" They turned to find a beautiful young nun standing behind them. Charles mentioned Martha's warning, but the nun offered no reply at all. She simply turned and walked briskly into the chapel. Curious despite themselves, Charles and Clara followed her inside. Clara, we should leave." "And where did that nun even go?" That's when a low, guttural growl echoed through the chapel behind them. They turned and froze. The same nun stood there, but her face had transformed entirely. Her pupils gone completely white, a savage, hungry smile spreading across features no longer entirely human. "So Martha was telling the truth," Clara whispered, trembling. "I know exactly what lives inside this chapel," Clara said, her voice unexpectedly steady. "But I came here for a reason." "And what reason is that?" "In 2 years of marriage, I've been pregnant 3 times. Each time I lose the child within a few months. I've heard that women who come to this chapel seeking the blessing of a child have never left disappointed." "Very well. This time your pregnancy will hold. You'll have a daughter. But you must make me a promise. Once she comes of age, you will dedicate her to this chapel as a nun." "I accept," Clara said without hesitation. "But you will leave this chapel alone tonight. Your husband will never leave these walls again." "I accept that too," Clara said, turning to Charles. "Forgive me, Charles. I need a child more than anything else in this world." In an instant, hundreds of writhing insects poured from the creature's mouth and swarmed across Charles's face. His scream tore through the chapel. Within moments, he collapsed to the ground as nothing more than a skeleton. Clara walked out of the chapel alone and never looked back. 20 years passed. Clara's daughter, Anna, had grown into a stunning young woman whose beauty was the subject of quiet conversation across the entire town of Hollows Bend. One afternoon, walking home from the market, Anna found her path blocked by a boy named Sammy and his friend Daniel. "I love you, Anna," Sammy said earnestly. "I want to marry you." "I don't love you," Anna replied flatly. My mother taught me from childhood that I must stay away from worldly attachments like marriage. My entire life has already been promised to that chapel. She walked briskly away. Once she was gone, Daniel turned to Sammy. I think you've lost your mind, Sammy. You know that chapel is cursed. Nobody in this town goes near it. And you know Anna is destined to become a nun. I know she's meant to become a nun, Sammy said. I still love her anyway. Frightened, Sammy went to his grandmother, Martha, and confessed everything. I need to talk to you about something urgent, Grandma. Sammy's fallen completely in love with Anna, and the whole town is afraid of Anna and her mother. Sammy himself arrived a moment later, catching the tail end of the conversation. You never listen when I tell you not to worry about small things, Sammy, Martha said, turning to face him directly. But you need to hear this. You must stay away from Anna. But why, Grandma? Why is everyone so afraid of them? Martha retrieved an ancient book from another room and opened it to a terrifying illustration of a woman. Do you know who this is? She asked. That's a horrifying picture, Sammy said, unsettled. Who is it? This is a picture of a demon goddess, Sammy. One who lives in another world entirely. That chapel was not always abandoned. Years ago, a nun lived there who attempted to remove a spirit from a young girl's body without the priest's permission. The girl recovered, but in doing so, a door opened between our world and another, and the very demon goddess in this drawing seized control of that girl's body. The nun herself has been cursed ever since. But what does any of that have to do with Anna and her mother? Anna's mother and father came to me outside that chapel years ago. I warned them not to go near it. They didn't listen, and they went inside anyway. Only Anna's mother ever walked back out. Her father was never seen again. Anna was born shortly after. I looked into Clara's history. She'd lost 3 pregnancies before that night. She must have bargained with that cursed spirit for a child of her own. The demon controlling that nun's body wants to bring her own daughter fully into our world through a human womb. Every other family she's granted a child to before Clara. That child died within 10 years. But Anna is still alive. Anna is that demon's daughter, Sammy. She is cursed. Sammy fell silent, shaken to his core. Late that same night, Clara lay sleeping beside her daughter when black smoke began seeping into their room. Clara's eyes snapped open to find the same monstrous nun standing before her. Anna will remain in this chapel from now on, the creature said. She will never step outside its walls again. But you promised only that she'd be dedicated as a nun, Clara said, trembling. You never said she could never leave. Your part of the bargain ended the moment she was born. Hundreds of insects poured from the creature's mouth once more, swarming across Clara's face. With one final scream, Clara collapsed into a skeletal heap on the floor. Anna's eyes snapped open at that same instant, and she stared at the monstrous figure in a trance-like state. Wake up, Anna, the creature said. Bring me the boy who loves you more than anything else. Bring him into this chapel. The creature vanished. Still deep in her trance, Anna made her way, unseen, into Sammy's bedroom. He woke with a start to find her standing over him. How did you get in here? Anna, come with me, she said, her voice flat and distant. Sammy, hypnotized by her presence, followed her out into the night, all the way to the chapel. The moment Sammy stepped through the chapel doors, the sight of the monstrous nun broke his hypnotic trance completely. He staggered back, trembling. What is that thing? Anna, her expression twisting into something cold and cruel, answered for the creature. This is my mother, Sammy. Don't be afraid. Once she and I drink your blood, our powers, which have never fully worked in this world, will finally return to us completely. Anna's face shifted, taking on the same monstrous quality as the creature beside her. That's when Martha's voice rang out from behind them. I knew something like this would happen. Anna and the creature spun around to find Martha standing between them, a gun raised in her hands. After so many failed attempts, I finally managed to bring my daughter fully into this world through a human womb, the creature snarled. Foolish woman, Do you really believe a human toy like that can stop the two of us? I've read a great deal about you and your daughter in old texts, Martha said, standing her ground. I know that the moment you drink my grandson's blood, your powers will return in full, and the two of you will unleash devastation on humanity itself. I also know I have no real chance of defeating either of you. And yet, here I am. You didn't let me finish, Martha continued. If I kill my own grandson myself right now, I know that both of you will be trapped inside this chapel forever, and your powers will be permanently extinguished. To save humanity from what you'd unleash, I am willing to sacrifice my own grandson if that's what it takes. Without hesitation, Martha fired. What have you done? You've killed your own grandson. At that instant, both the creature and Anna burst into flame. Martha rushed out of the chapel as a violent gust of wind slammed its doors shut behind her. Outside, Daniel found her trembling. What did you just do? There was no other way to protect humanity, Martha said quietly. That demon goddess and her daughter are now trapped inside that chapel forever. They can never come out again. With that, Martha took Daniel's arm and walked away from Hollow's Bend for good.